Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much again for tuning in to the Realdealfam network. Again, I'm Andre. This is my beautiful wife, Essie.
How you doing?
Oh,
Today we are sharing, boss.
AKA the boss. How you doing, honey?
Hi.
Thank you all again. Like I said in the beginning, we appreciate y'all for tuning in this evening. If you would, before we even begin, important thing, please hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that in the future when the videos come out, you will definitely be the first to get it.
Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up,
as well as like the video. Today, this topic is quite juicy and quite relevant. It's actually been discussed quite a bit here recently in the media. So we want to dive in it from a different perspective as two individuals that has, I guess, kind of stake in the game as well as you do. The title is called What's So Offensive About Oprah and Gayle?
Then he looks at me. Well, we just want to come at it from an angle as far as this is a discussion that's going on in the average black household at this time. And so it just gives a clue and, a peek into how black people think, and why do they feel this way about the issue about Oprah and Gayle and what they did.
Excellent. And that's very true. I think one of the reasons, the first thing I think that came to our minds is there an aura of arrogance that's being disseminated between the two. Do you feel that's the case, honey?
Yes, I think if you feel in your heart that you have made a mistake, according to Gayle, it was a mistake, allegedly, that the network put that clip in there and we mistook it a specific way and so on and so forth. If you honestly think that you made a mistake, would you think you would apologize sincerely to the person you have offended as well as the family of Kobe Bryant?
As y'all know, I've had to do my own apologizing here recently, so I definitely see when you make a mistake or you offend somebody, there's nothing wrong with apologizing. It doesn't make you weak or anything like that. It just shows that you're human and you have empathy and so forth for individuals. Definitely, I get the sense, just like my wife said, that there is a certain aura of arrogance, and typically that comes in with a dose of pride. And so,
or when you feel like you don't need the person, they're beneath you, to apologize to that group of people.
Yeah, and that is a very touchy subject. I don't know why you would feel like that. Even if you have more than somebody, or you feel like you have more than an individual, they're still humans. They're still your brothers and sisters, and so there's no need for all of that. So that's why we felt there had to be some exercising of a little bit of arrogance there. Got them in a little bit of trouble. What do you say?
Just slightly.
And we also think a reason why they are so offensive is that there seems to be a little bit of hypocrisy going on. We couldn't quite make out what was the agenda. Was it that they were specifically going after men who were accused of doing certain things, whether it was sexual crimes or something of that sort?
No, they didn't specify. They never specified what the goal was. It was just constantly coming out with reports on, African American men, a black man and of course you got the bad ones in a bunch with it, but she, made the mistake of mentioning Kobe Bryant and he hadn't even been laid to rest.
Right, and that would set off the firestorm. In our culture, everybody's quite aware of there's a certain amount of respect that's due. Even if the person has a little bit of checkered past, you want to have respect for the dead. Once that process is done, everybody's done grieving and dealing with the particular issue, because you have to look at people have family. And family, sometimes that's a very sensitive time. Me and my wife been through that, through funerals and things like that. And man, I tell you, it's a very touchy time. And to have somebody coming out and questioning certain things right off the bat without even consulting you personally can be quite offensive. What you think, honey?
Yeah, I think not only that, Kobe's wife has to bury, her daughter, her husband, two
Definitely.
eulogies, plan 2 memorial services or funeral services at the same time, deal with the public scrutiny, and then you talking about her husband who hasn't even been laid to rest on charges that was, they never even went to trial. The charge was dropped.
Yeah, now that's one thing. Now I can see if the man was found guilty, and definitely that'll be a part of his legacy. But even if so, I mean, at that particular time, he's passed away. Let's give him time to be buried and get the whole process over. Just out of respect for his family and for his wife. And so that's another thing that we find that's kind of offensive about him, is that they, just like my wife said earlier, we couldn't quite figure out their agenda, but it seems as though the people that they was going after had the same phenotype. They got the same characteristic. And what we found, I guess, if you did a profile, it's an array of different types of people who commit these particular types of crime. So you're not going to just say, okay, all these guys look like this, they the brothers, or they look a certain way. It's an array of people. And so it didn't seem like Oprah then was quite open to criticize or go after everybody.
Let's see who the projects that she's done so far on to discredit these people.
So far, what I've seen is it's been Michael Jackson,
yes,
Russell Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
It may have not been
back on Russell. She took her name off the project, but the project still went to Sundance, showed, and HBO purchased it. So it's not like it's not getting ready to come out.
This is true. And you also had in that particular mix is R. Kelly. Maybe not Oprah directly herself, but it was done by Gayle.
And they're best friends.
Right. And then
allegedly,
the most recent and the one that caused the most problem has been Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, and then you have Bill Cosby. They did a scoop on Bill Cosby. But, over here I got my list. See that long with this giant list. And not only are these people that are known to be, predators, some of them even out of their own mouth, and some of them alleged, that she's close friends with many of these people.
This is true. Self-proclaimed close friends.
So, I mean, if that was your agenda, is to go after, sexual predators, you would think you would go after, at least do a documentary on Epstein and his alleged, many people that he did business with. Some of them are the Clintons, Trump, Prince Albert, Kevin Spacey, Elon Musk, allegedly. Other people that she's known or are known predators are Elvis Presley, his wife.
Allegedly.
He met her and they had affairs and things when she was 13. Woody Allen, who was with his stepdaughter when she was a little girl. Matt Lauer,
Yes.
Harvey Weinstein, everybody keeps mentioning him. They were good buddies. Charlie Sheen, who allegedly has HIV and has slept with hundreds of women, still knowing that he has this without disclosing it to the women. Charlie Rose, who's a past co-worker of Gayle.
Yes, and somebody she's proclaimed to be very fond of.
And then, of course, the Fox exec, Roger Ailes.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, and the list goes on. So, if that was your angle to cover, people who have done these crimes, you think at least one of them would have been on the list.
Right. And I think that was brought to their attention, especially Gayle. She received so much backlash here recently. And unfortunately, that's another problem because she began to double down on her reasoning for doing different things. And so she said that she basically threw the network under the bus and said that it was done inappropriately. It wasn't nothing she approved of. It was kind of sneakily put. It just was a clip out of the entire interview that really didn't capture the whole essence of the interview.
Yeah, but if you listen to our clip, she said she knew Lisa Leslie, and she knew she was best friends with her. So it sounds like she had set up that arrangement to go speak with her herself. How's CBS gonna know that they have been friends in the past? So that seems to be the angle she took in order to get in her house and talk to her about that specific issue.
Yes, and that's a problem. And like I said, everything is timing. The timing was absolutely horrendous. And once everything kind of snowballed out of control, then I guess today Oprah came out and did a interview basically where she was talking where people was asking how Gayle is. So she was saying she's not doing good. And so a lot of people began to feel like they was deflecting a little bit. Now
and
starting
was this
to play
a watershed moment? Have you seen Oprah cry?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I mean, yeah, over this, no. The best thing for her to do would have been to apologize.
It's very simple. It's very simple. Everybody make mistakes. That's all Gayle had to do. Just be very sympathetic and say, well, you know, I was just doing my journalistic job. That's all I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to offend anybody.
Well, she did try to say that in so many words, but she said she didn't know about it. But yet she was in the cutting room floor telling them, oh, I think we need to keep that part in, that as a nice button to the closing of the statement.
Well, for us, that's not really an apology. If you trying to dress it up and make excuses, our culture tend to like apologies that are sincere and heartfelt, and you feel like you made a mistake and you asking somebody to forgive you. Mm-hmm. You're not throwing in excuses along with it. Mm-hmm. So I think that why it didn't go over very well, and now it's kind of seeming like, oh, now I'm the victim. These people are coming at me. They're making death threats and so forth, and I just don't think it flies.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it may be inappropriate to call a woman out her name. However, if that was your family member or your best friend or your brother, sister, whoever had recently passed away, and some reporter was bringing up some old charges from, a person who had been invalidated. It's not like that there were reports of the woman who had multiple, men's DNA in her body when they examined her. Allegedly. I mean, so these things have been tossed out and that had been settled a long time ago. So to bring that up when the man hadn't been buried yet is cold.
Yeah, and what was startling to a lot of people is that even folks that didn't really care for him or care for his personality, they really felt like that was a really shady move. Like,
we're not really Lakers fans. Kobe was like, man, we wanted the Heat to win. Come on now.
Right, but he was a human being. He was a brother, and people feel like that, and the man still had respect.
Exactly. You don't have to like him, but dang well, he had respect.
Yes, he was a father and a husband,
and you love that side of him.
Definitely, definitely. So that's a big point of contention between the two. I think also another thing that kind of rubbed people the wrong way, or they was kind of revealed, so to speak. The veil has kind of been unleashed upon them. Like, people can kind of see their true colors now.
Yeah. All these years that people have been saying different things about them, like Monique. And, you just discredit Monique like, oh, my God, girl, get over that. Get out your feelings. Oprah did not do that to you. Well, look at here. What have we found?
Yes.
Yes.
And that,
allegedly.
And that is another thing. It's almost like the veil was unleashed upon them because they kind of abused the trust and the reverence that people had for them, just out of spite that we love to see our own people make it and do big things. Mm-hmm. And so everybody loved that about Oprah, and
people were willing to overlook or not investigate any abuse of power that they may have been, or pulling the wool over our eyes for many years, which seems to be the case. So I don't know how they'll be able to repair this, if ever, because I won't ever look at them the same, and I won't trust to buy anything they got going on.
Yeah, and just like Monique said allegedly, is that for somebody we hold in such high esteem and everybody had a lot of respect for, and then to find out that the allegations that Monique made against her is such that they had some sort of point of contention, but she says Oprah allegedly has been kind of hindering her career from proceeding.
Blacklisted.
Right, and so that's not good. You're stopping somebody's bag. You already very wealthy. There's nothing wrong with not getting along with somebody and y'all disagree, but to go as far as to try to go out your way to make sure they don't have anything, that's typically not our culture. So you're getting that from somewhere else that we that make us think it kind of shady already. So you might want to watch your steps in that regard. What do you think, honey?
Yeah, I mean, just people have held Oprah in reverence for a long time. She's always been able to get together, the old and the young, white, black, all kinds, and we come together, and you feel a kind of kindred spirit, or you did in the past. However, now that you see what kind of true colors she appears to be unveiling, you don't want any parts of that.
Right, because if you can consider somebody like a Michael Jackson, you go to his house, he open up his home to you, you do an interview with him, and then
even if you think Michael Jackson did this, which is, I mean, you can think it whichever you want.
Right. That's
at the time, Oprah was allegedly good friends with him, knowing these things, just like Harvey Weinstein, good friends allegedly, and knowing these things. But under the guise of let's be buddy, let me get in your house, see what you got going on, and or as soon as you're dead,
use that against you.
Yeah.
And that affects your estate, that affects your children, that affects your legacy. So we just see the moves as kind of shaky. I don't know how it's supposed to shake out from here. I guess some people asking the question, was the backlash warranted? Did they deserve the kind of extreme backlash they got, like so forth as death threats, being called out their name and all that type of thing?
Well, this is the point where we're at. Black people in general are not just angry at Oprah and Gayle for just this incident.
Exactly.
It is a conglomerate of things that have been piling up over the decades, however long she's been. And so now, the sheet's been pulled off. We see it's Oprah and Gayle behind all this mischief. What are you supposed to, you're disheartened.
Yeah, it's almost finding out like a family member went behind the family and sided with the enemy. So,
or like your sister slept with your man.
Oh, that's bad. But definitely, it is a very serious situation. It goes a little bit deeper than this in terms of just doing an interview and things like that. People have wade into it a little bit deeper than that. Mm-hmm. So
do you think that it was warranted, the response?
I personally think, not like everybody else say, I don't agree with the death threats. I didn't think it goes that far. I think it goes in terms of, I just don't deal with you anymore. You know what I mean? And the people that support you, we don't support you anymore. Mm-hmm. I think that's painful in and of itself. And it's going to hurt you financially, and it's going to hurt your legacy and everything. All you worked for all that time, it's not worth going out there to do a documentary or something like that. We don't know if somebody put you up to it.
And it's not as though the documentaries are unbiased.
Right.
It's not like you're getting both sides of the story when you watch the documentaries. It's a one-sided angle. Like, I'm open to a good documentary.
This is true.
But many of these people have been discredited, or you're not getting the other side of the story. It just don't seem right.
Right. And hypothetically, if you like a pedophile or something, I mean, everybody, I don't know many people that's normal would support a pedophile. So if they was making a mission to go out and expose these people, nobody have a problem with that. They wouldn't care if they was black, white, or whatever color they are. But if you going after a specific group and you excluding the group because you are closely affiliated with them, now it seems like you got an agenda. It ain't just about you going after the pedophiles, you going after a certain group of people. So that's the major issue people have with them. They haven't come forward yet to apologize for it or to give a clear-cut explanation, I don't think.
We call that they lost their cause.
Yeah, And once you lose that card, man, you're in a whole lot of trouble. I'm telling you.
Yeah, man. Oh my goodness. They call it a turncoat.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you lost your citizenship. You're no longer.
Yeah. The names they throwing around to describe Gayle and Oprah are pretty harsh, and like I say, if you didn't address it, it's like we say, it's like family. If you don't go in and say, "Hey, man, I apologize," the people ain't gonna let you back in, man. We can't trust you, and so it is what it is at this point. I mean, you got money, you got all that stuff, so I guess you feel you don't need your people, but one day. The money won't be there for you.
OJ thought he didn't need his people.
Yeah, and so
he needed us. We don't want him.
Yeah, don't turn your back on your people, man. Just like I said, it wasn't even worth it. I don't know if it was a great financial gain, but to have the respect you built over so many decades just thrown away over a documentary, it just doesn't make sense to me. I thought she was a lot smarter than that. Both her and Gayle, but like you say, you live long enough, you're gonna see it all, right, honey?
Stacey Dash thought she didn't need her people. She need them, and we don't want them.
Yes. But if anybody had any questions on why Oprah and Gayle offended the community, those are pretty good reasons why. And like we say, me and my wife both wish Vanessa and the kids and the entire family well. I mean, that's a lot to deal with. Mm-hmm. I believe they'll bounce back. They'll be strong.
The world is praying for you. We're all praying for you.
Yes. And that's all it takes, Oprah. That's all you had to do. But hey, it's all good. We as a community, we're going to continue to do our thing. Right, honey?
What do they call it?
Black love. She know all about that. But again, we thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm sure everybody has an opinion about this. This is just our opinion, and we would love if you put down in the comments some of the things you think about the situation and share with us so that we can be edified by it, and others too in the comment section. Mm-hmm. And don't forget to subscribe. Also hit that like button, and we'll be coming at you more with more videos in the future. We thank y'all so much again for all your support. Good night.
Good night.